have, let's go ahead and listen in, because I do believe we have Gage is back, and he's with Christy Soto, and they're down in South Fort Myers. They're kind of, oh, they're live for us.
We thought we were just going to
assessing the situation.
It's okay if we're going into each other's mics.
Are you guys ready? Can you hear us? Christy?
You can start it off.
Christy Soto, Gage, can you hear us? You're up. You're live.
Yes. We can hear you.
Take it away.
Is that Kelly Burns?
Yes, it is.
All right, Kelly. We are out here near Golisano Hospital at the Health Park Hospital. Gage and I have been traveling for the last couple of hours, you know, assessing the damage, and we've seen a lot within the last 2 hours. And I mean, we haven't moved far, but we've seen a lot.
And what's kind of crazy is, you know, for the viewers, obviously we all started at the same place. We started at the same station, but we took two very different paths to get here. And I know for myself and our photographer, Paul Kost, out with us tonight working the cameras, it was an adventure because there were downed power lines, there were traffic signals hanging by a thread.
I mean, we're talking like almost at eye level.
Yeah.
And that's not something we want to see.
No, I mean, and we're obviously working under, you know, no light. So think about driving home at night, maybe, you know, from the airport after a late flight or something like that. And then take that and darken it by about 200% because there's no traffic lights, there's no oncoming traffic, there's no traffic signals, there's no CVS pharmacy on the side of the road. There's nothing out here, and it's so difficult to see. And you know, we're using spotlights trying to look, because everything is a threat. I don't know how it was for you, but everything for us was a threat. We didn't know if we were going to run into an alligator crossing the road or a live power line crossing the road. It was
metal, debris.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on US 41 and Gladiolus, and there was a massive tree. I'm talking about 3 times the size of Gage on the, like, up high. I mean, that's how massive it was. It was uprooted. I mean, this is just kind of what we're seeing, and we know that this is, unfortunately, just a little piece of it. I mean, we think about the videos we've seen of people in Fort Myers Beach, the videos we've seen in Sanibel, and we haven't seen that yet. We're just seeing a glimpse of what, you know, to us may seem intense now, but it really isn't compared to what those people are going through.
And what really shocked me is, you know, for those of you that know the South Fort Myers area, know Golisano's Children's Hospital on Summerlin near Bass Road, we are still, and if you travel in the summertime here, you know, or excuse me, the wintertime during the season, you know, we're still a long ways from the beach, and that's a long drive to get to Fort Myers Beach. Yet we're still seeing very high storm surge. We're seeing tons of residual flooding, and, you know, there's still those sheriff's office high water vehicle rescue teams out here driving around. But it's impressive to see. I mean, if we kind of look here, this water, it's receding a little bit, but you can see the whole westbound travel lane on Summerlin Road completely covered in water in this minivan. Paul, can you zoom in on that minivan? You can see somebody. We'll take a little bit of a walk. I know, Paul, you're kind of tethered there a little bit, but this minivan, you can see this, Christy, this is somebody's life right here. This is somebody made a last-ditch effort to go somewhere, and they left the door open.
I mean, and we've seen images from Health Park Hospital where cars were inundated with water, and so we can only imagine what the parking lot looks like. And when we talk about how flooded it is in this area, I mean, we're on the street. Only the median really is what's not underwater. On the other side of Summerlin, it's the same situation. And Gage had mentioned rescue crews. We saw LCSO rescue crews already out here with their gear and those big doom buggies, I mean, that go really far up the ground. They talked about, you know, responding to a family that was in distress. On the way over here, our photographer Brendan and I spoke with a man who was actually at one of the Lee County shelters, and he was, you know, taking shelter there, but his son lives right off the road here. And he knows his house is flooded. He knows when he's able to get through these waters, his house is going to be flooded. What he really wants to know is how his son is doing, because once they lost power, once his phone died, once we all lost signal, you know, that's when it gets very scary. You don't know how your family's doing. You hope that they're okay. You hope that, you know, it's just a service thing. It's just a battery thing. And as we, you know, drive along tonight, I mean, we're going to meet people like that are just praying that their family is okay. And it's just really heartbreaking, just to see what we're going through, and what Southwest Florida is going through. And this is just a glimpse, like we've been talking about. It's so dark out here. When the sun rises, I can't even imagine what we are going to be seeing. And we're going to move up. There's actually a car coming on the road.
And Christy, that kind of brought up something I was thinking about that I wanted to stress to the people at home is that, the sheriff's office kind of was a couple intersections back from us. And we talked to them and said, hey, what's it like up here? Can we go up here? We're trying to show everybody what's happening right now because, we don't want people driving around kind of like this. Hopefully they're going somewhere that's absolutely necessary because you're not supposed to be driving right now. It's not safe for anybody. But when we asked them, hey, there's a curfew. Yeah. And when we asked them, can we go up there? They looked us dead in the eye and said, at your own risk.
Yep.
To have the law enforcement of the county tell you, this is on you, basically saying, you're taking your own risk. Yeah. We might not be able to come help you. Man, does that just speak volumes as to what they're dealing with, but just the intensity of the situation. And like you said, we're not even close to Fort Myers Beach. We're not even on Sanibel. We're not in the just horrific pictures we saw out in Naples today. Yeah. Yet, we are still seeing what we're seeing now, and it's just not even comparable to what we're going to see finally whenever we see daylight tomorrow and the images start rolling in. It's devastation doesn't even begin to describe it.
Yeah, it's just heartbreaking. So we're going to send it back to Kelly and Peter in the studio.